on a vast stretch of land, surrounded by rolling hills and golden fields, there was a ranch named Willow Creek. The sun peeked over the horizon each morning, casting a warm glow over the sturdy barns and grazing pastures. The air was filled with the sounds of nature, the gentle rustle of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the distant neighing of horses. This picturesque place was home to Jack, a dedicated rancher who had spent his entire life tending to the land and caring for his animals. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. Jack was a man in his late 40s, with weathered hands that told stories of hard work and long hours under the sun. He had inherited Willow Creek from his father, who had instilled in him a deep love for the ranch and its animals. Jack believed that every creature on his property deserved kindness and respect, from the smallest chickens to the powerful horses that roamed the pastures. He was known in the community as someone who would go out of his way to help any animal in need, earning him the nickname, the Animal Protector. Among his livestock was a beautiful chestnut mare named Rosie. She was a spirited horse, full of energy and grace. Rosie had been with Jack since she was just a foal, and over the years they had developed an unbreakable bond. With her shiny coat and bright eyes, she stood out among the herd. Jack often spent hours grooming her in the barn, telling her stories about the adventures they would have together. Rosie loved to gallop through the fields, her mane flowing in the wind as she raced alongside Jack on horseback. Willow Creek was more than just a workplace for Jack. It was his home. He woke up early every morning, tending to the animals, feeding them, and making sure they were all healthy. His daily routine also included repairing fences, maintaining the equipment, and planting crops when the season allowed. Despite the hard work, Jack found joy in every task, knowing that he was providing a safe haven for his beloved animals. As summer rolled in, the ranch became lush and alive with color. Wildflowers bloomed, adding splashes of yellow, purple, and pink to the landscape. The sunflowers stretched high toward the sky, while clover carpets covered parts of the pasture. It was during this season that Jack noticed Rosie acting a little differently. She seemed restless and frequently wandered farther into the fields than usual. At first, Jack thought it was just her adventurous spirit shining through, but he kept an eye on her nonetheless. One afternoon, as Jack was mending a broken fence near the edge of the property, he saw Rosie trotting towards an area he hadn't visited much lately. Hidden behind a thicket of bushes was a muddy patch that had formed from recent rainstorms. Rosie's curiosity got the better of her as she approached it, sniffing at the ground with interest. Before Jack realized what was happening, he watched in horror as she stepped into the thick mud. Rosie struggled immediately, her hooves sinking into the muck as she tried to pull herself free. Panic set in as she began to cry out for help. The sound of her distressed whinnies echoed through the fields, piercing through the quiet of the day. Jack dropped what he was doing and sprinted toward the sound of her cries, his heart racing with fear. As he reached Rosie's side, he felt a wave of dread wash over him. She was trapped, and no matter how much she struggled, the mud only seemed to hold her tighter. Jack fell to his knees at the edge of the pit, calling out to her soothingly. "It's okay, girl. I'm here." He reassured her, trying to keep his voice calm despite his own rising panic. Jack knew that if he didn't act quickly, Rosie could injure herself or worse, she could drown in the mud if she kept fighting against it. He took a deep breath and assessed the situation. The surrounding area was soft and slippery. There wasn't much to grab onto for leverage. But he couldn't leave Rosie like this. He had to find a way to save her. This moment marked not just a challenge for Jack, but also a turning point in his life, a test of his character and commitment to his animals. He refused to let fear dictate his actions. Instead, he felt a surge of determination. With Rosie's desperate cries still ringing in his ears, Jack prepared himself for what lay ahead. The rescue mission was about to begin, and Jack was ready to do whatever it took to save Rosie from her muddy prison. The golden light of the late afternoon sun began to shimmer across the ranch, casting a warm glow over everything it touched. Jack was busy mending the fence when a sense of stillness fell over Willow Creek. It was unusual. The usual sounds of nature seemed muted, as if the world was holding its breath. Suddenly, that tranquility shattered with the panicked whinnies of Rosie. Jack's heart raced as he recognized her distinct cries echoing through the quiet fields. "What in the world?" he muttered, dropping his tools and sprinting towards the sound. The closer he got, the clearer it became that something was terribly wrong. Rounding a thicket of bushes, Jack's breath caught in his throat. There was Rosie, struggling desperately in a thick patch of mud that had formed after recent rainstorms. She had wandered farther than Jack intended and had stepped right into the treacherous muck. Her front legs were sunk deep, and she shifted anxiously from side to side, her hooves sinking deeper with each movement. Rosie's bright eyes were wide with fear, and her frantic whinnies echoed through the air like a cry for help. "Rosie, I'm coming," Jack called out, trying to remain calm despite the panic surging within him. He rushed to her side, surveying the scene with dread pooling in his stomach. The muddy pit looked treacherous. It appeared nearly impossible for such a powerful horse to pull herself free from its grasp. As she struggled, sand and mud splattered around her, creating a chaotic scene filled with both beauty and desperation. Jack knelt beside her and gently stroked her mane, whispering words of assurance even though he felt an overwhelming fear of losing her. "Just hold on, girl. We're going to get you out," he promised, clenching his jaw as he tried to figure out how best to help her. Rosie turned her head toward him, recognizing his voice amidst her anxiety. The moment their eyes connected felt electric. She needed him just as much as he needed her at that moment. Her breathing quickened as she continued to struggle against her bonds of mud. Each frantic movement only seemed to make things worse. "Stay still," Jack urged gently but firmly, hoping she would understand that fighting would only tire her more quickly. His own heart raced as he considered how fast time was slipping away. Every second counted as Rosie's energy began to wane under the strain of being trapped. In that moment of urgency, Jack could see how deeply connected they were. Not just rancher and horse, but lifelong companions who had shared countless adventures together on these very fields. Memories flooded his mind, those joyful gallops under blue skies and lazy afternoons spent grooming each other in the barn. But now was not the time for nostalgia. Rosie needed him focused and strong. He assessed their surroundings for anything useful, a rope, a sturdy branch, anything that could aid him in this dire situation. And yet, all he saw was endless muck and more desperation. With grit settling into his determination, Jack decided he couldn't act alone. This rescue would require teamwork. He stood up quickly and scanned the ranch for anyone nearby who could assist him in freeing Rosie from her muddy prison. "Hey, someone, help!" he bellowed at the top of his lungs as fear laced through his voice. His shout traveled but felt swallowed up by the looming trees that surrounded them, like silent witnesses. He wanted nothing more than a helping hand from anyone who might hear him. A neighbor or one of his ranch workers who might be able to lend support during this critical moment. As Rosie continued to whinny frantically behind him, Jack took a step back toward her sheltering form. Kneeling once again beside her battered body, he could feel heat radiating off her skin beneath that thick layer of mud, now caking on her coat like armor forged from despair. "It's okay," he whispered softly once more, while stroking Rosie's neck gently in an effort to soothe both their nerves before any further efforts were made. Connection remained essential amidst their chaos. Suddenly there came footsteps, crunching through dry leaves nearby. The sharp sound contrasted against all that had unfolded earlier with silent urgency, and Jack looked up to see Tom, a fellow ranch hand rushing toward them with wide eyes filled with concern matching his own. "Jack, what happened?" Tom shouted urgently as he reached their side just seconds later. A look on his face reflecting urgency mingled with fear, evident enough for both men standing there, now bonded together by concern carved into their very beings, with purpose fueling them onward despite doubt lurking within, subconsciously even now, gripping onto limbs, refusing release thereof, until rescue was complete. "Rosie's stuck. We have to work together," Jack replied quickly, while gesturing urgently toward Rosie. Further ensnared amidst mud, not yet released entirely, not for lack of trying. The mighty chestnut mare, valiantly battling what seemed insurmountable odds alone, thus far needing backup desperately, where hope tended toward fading rapidly, without joint effort involved, henceforth necessary moving forward into unknown territory requiring strength displayed across both men, willing embrace, challenge, awaiting them ahead, if only tenacity propelled them onward. Paving paths still unexplored before blazing trails seeking resolution swiftly. Together, they formulated a plan. Tom securing a rope, while Jack gently coaxed Rosie steady, hoping against hope meant they would succeed against all odds soon enough. As Jack knelt beside Rosie, urgency pulsed through his veins. The sight of her struggling in the mud shook him to his core. He had always prided himself on being there for his animals, treating each one with tender care and respect. Rosie was not just any horse. She was a part of his life, a companion who had shared in both joy and hardship. Memories of her joyful gallops across the fields flooded his mind, reminding him of the bond they shared. "Just hang on, girl," he murmured, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Jack could see the fear in her eyes, and it was almost as if she understood the gravity of her situation. She let out another frightened whinny that echoed through the stillness of the ranch. In that moment, Jack felt a deep responsibility to save her. Not just for himself, but for the connection they had built over the years. As he stared into her pleading eyes, he knew he couldn't waste another second. Every moment counted as Rosie fought against the mud threatening to swallow her whole. He stood up quickly, scanning the area for anything that might help him. His heart raced as he took a few steps back to assess the situation more clearly. "Tom, over here," he called out again, urgency lacing his words as he waved frantically in Tom's direction, hoping to catch his attention before it was too late. He felt a wave of relief wash over him as Tom emerged from behind some nearby trees. "What happened?" Tom asked, concern etched across his face as he hurried closer to Jack and Rosie. "She's stuck in the mud. We need to get her out now," Jack replied, pointing toward Rosie with desperation clear in his tone. Tom's eyes widened as he took in the scene before them. The chestnut mare struggling against her muddy constraints, panic radiating from her every movement. Together, they quickly formulated a plan. "Grab some rope from the barn. We need something strong enough to pull her out," Jack instructed Tom, who nodded and dashed off without hesitation. Jack returned his focus to Rosie, kneeling down beside her once more. "Rosie, I'm right here," he whispered soothingly. running his hands down her muddy neck as he tried to calm both her and himself. He could feel her trembling beneath him. Each breath she took was labored and heavy with fear. "You're going to be okay." Jack understood that staying calm was essential. If he panicked, Rosie would sense it and become even more frantic. He took a deep breath and concentrated on their bond, recalling all those times they had worked together side by side on the ranch. It was that connection that gave him strength. He needed to be her rock now when she felt so vulnerable. He could hear Tom rushing back through the brush, carrying a sturdy length of rope as well as a few tools that might help them gain leverage. "I'm here. What do we do?" Tom called out excitedly upon arriving back at their side. "We'll use this rope to try to pull her out," Jack explained quickly, while gesturing toward Rosie's legs, still trapped in the thick mud below. "I'll hold on to her while you secure it around her body." Together, they moved into action. Jack stayed low beside Rosie, whispering words of encouragement while gently stroking her mane and checking on how she was holding up under pressure. With every moment that passed, Jack could feel time slipping away. The sun was setting lower in the sky, casting long shadows over them both. "Okay, let's do this," Tom said firmly, as he secured one end of the rope around Rosie's muddy torso, while Jack continued offering reassurance amidst growing tension surrounding them all. Both men completely aware, success depended largely upon remaining focused, instead embracing hope, rather than succumbing dread lurking within heavy shadows above. Looming presented fears embodying nature's grips, tightly fused, gripping down upon their beloved friend who needed saving desperately now, more than ever before. "On three," Jack said firmly, after ensuring Tom secured everything tightly enough, Abel then tugging gently, signaling readiness ahead one last time, emphasizing encouraging affirmations toward steady promise, resting within fading light, surrounding all present hope, glowing brightly just beyond reach, empowering courage needed while embarking, shifting paths, awaiting destiny, revealing itself anew now. "Ready? 1, 2, 3. Together, they pulled against the mud, clinging desperately around Rosie's legs. To their surprise, found strength bearing witness among them. Lifting spirits, matching fiercely flowing resolve, amplifying moments, eternal bonds captured. Within racing hearts, guiding efforts onward, sparking flashes where clarity lit upon horizon, illuminating path, emerging resilience, fanning embers forth thrust, reinvigorated shared purpose, compelling emergence, crafting, determination, united, overcoming adversity, confrontingly faced, headlong pressing firmly forward, triumphant roaring, realized strengths forged alongside insatiable thirst, embracing life born anew, next chapters weighted turning pages, beckoning fresh beginnings, twinkling stars overhead, before eagerly claimed ever-present light, guiding way, shining brightly onward, beckoning embrace, unfurling boundless love. Sown within soil would yield fruits, still found nurturing roots, grown deeply intertwined, kept sustaining souls alive, igniting fires kindled, casting warmth long after twilight fades, revealing moments treasured forever, seeking places calling home. As Jack and Tom knelt beside the struggling Rosie, the challenges of the rescue quickly became evident. The muddy terrain surrounding them was precarious, slick with moisture that had accumulated from the recent rainstorms. Jack could feel the earth giving way beneath him with each step he took, a reminder of how treacherous the situation was, not just for Rosie, but for them as well. "Stay calm, girl," he murmured, hoping that his soothing voice would reach her amidst her panic. Unfortunately, Rosie's distress seemed to grow with every passing second. She thrashed against the mud, her hooves sinking deeper into the muck, and each movement only made it harder for her to escape. Jack felt a stab of anxiety in his chest. He knew that time was running out, but rushing things would only make everything worse. "It's getting dark," Tom pointed out as he scanned the horizon where the sky was turning a deep shade of orange. "We have to act fast." Jack nodded, instinctively tightening his grip on the rope they had secured around Rosie's torso. The resistance they faced was daunting. He felt weak as she pulled against them, a once powerful animal now caught in a vulnerable position. Watching her struggle against the elements sent waves of frustration through him. It was difficult to see his beloved mare, who had been a source of joy and companionship, reduced to this frightened state. "Let's try moving slow and steady," Jack suggested, taking a moment to rally his thoughts and approach their rescue strategically. His mind raced as he tried to think through everything. The mud clinging fiercely around Rosie's legs had formed an impromptu prison. It was cold and unrelenting. Jack glanced over at Tom, gauging his readiness for what lay ahead. "On three," Jack instructed, taking a deep breath to steady himself. 1, 2, 3. Together, they began to pull on the rope, but the stubborn mud refused to give way. Jack felt a sharp jerk in his arms, not just from the effort, but also from Rosie's instinctive panic as she kicked against the ground. Her eyes were wild, with fear, and Jack realized that if they weren't careful, she could injure herself in her struggle. Ease up, he shouted, trying to prevent her from hurting herself or worsening her predicament. Tom responded immediately, relaxing his pull slightly as both men tried their best to maintain steady encouragement despite their growing concern. "Just hold on, Rosie. We've got you," Tom called out, kneeling next to Rosie and gently stroking her mane in hopes of calming her racing heart. Despite their efforts at reassurance, Rosie's panic only heightened. She continued to thrash about, seemingly unaware of their efforts to help her. The sound of splattering mud, mixed with her frantic whinnies, made the air thick with tension and fear. Jack's chest tightened further as he realized that not only were their own emotions running high, but so too were Rosie's apprehensions about being stuck. They tried again, this time pulling steadily while reminding Rosie that they were right there beside her. It was crucial for both Tom and Jack to remain composed amidst chaos. They needed to be a point of stability in this frightening moment. "Keep going. You're doing great," Jack urged her softly while gripping the rope tightly. But each attempt proved more challenging than the last. With every slight tug on the rope, Jack could feel Rosie's body stiffen as fear overwhelmed her senses. The panic in her eyes caused him to double down on calming her. He gently patted down her neck and murmured sweet words that he hoped would reach her frightened heart. Suddenly, Jack felt his footing slip on the muddy ground. He staggered forward but regained balance just in time. However, such moments of vulnerability reminded him of how treacherous this rescue truly was. One misstep could send any one of them tumbling into the very muck they were trying to free Rosie from. "Maybe we need something more," Tom suggested as he frantically scanned their surroundings for additional tools that might help in this dire situation. "If we had something sturdy like a branch, or even a board." Jack kept whispering reassurance to Rosie while contemplating what might lie around them that could aid in their rescue efforts. Time continued slipping away. Shadows loomed longer over the ranch as darkness crept in around them. "No matter what happens," Jack said firmly to himself as much as to Rosie, "we're not leaving without you." He could feel determination swelling inside him, a promise forged from years spent caring for her and witnessing all her joyful moments galloping freely across those fields. As Tom darted off to look for what might help pull Rosie free while maintaining an eye on her shifting form bound tight, Jack found solace knowing that amidst every challenge they faced today, both emotional and physical, Their hearts beat in tandem with hers, willing energy shared connecting paths, beckoning, creating courage, lending strength, presence steering them toward hopefulness, embraced glimmering twilight, born within anticipation, fervently aflame, hearts inflamed, driven, purposefully forever, more securely protecting. Claimed identities' residues, tracing roots leading always awaits, came alive together. Journeying, enduring destiny, redefined, forged experiences, regrettably compelling. They earned claim bravery, summoned fully enriched lives, threaded sweetly, intermingled done stories, rejoicing boldly, nurtured, inviting flourishing families being gifted, always remembered those touched, finding close communion, dark expanse, lifting drivers, ever surrounds, floundering offers, gentle guide, brightened promise, anew, reclaiming endlessly, flowing forth surrounding riding waves along echoes, strange adventurously reciprocating while being anchored firmly, positive shadows cast, reflected tomorrow. Beaming paths drawn both embraced free. Just as Jack and Tom were grappling with the challenges of rescuing Rosie, their efforts caught the attention of nearby ranch workers and neighbors. The commotion had drawn several others to the scene, and soon they began to arrive, eager to lend a hand in this urgent situation. First came Sarah and her son, Caleb, who lived just a few miles down the road. They had been out for a ride when they noticed the gathering crowd and the frantic whinnies of Rosie. "What happened?" Sarah called out as she approached, her face filled with concern. "Rosie's stuck in the mud. We're trying to get her out," Tom shouted back, his voice tinged with urgency. Without hesitation, Sarah jumped off her horse and ran to Rosie's side, joining Emma and Ben, who were already trying to calm the panicked mare. Caleb, carrying a sturdy branch he had spotted on the ground, rushed over as well. "Maybe this can help," he exclaimed, holding it out as a potential tool for leverage. Jack quickly grasped the branch, recognizing it could serve as a makeshift pry bar to help lift Rosie's legs out of the muck. As they worked together, each person brought their unique skills and resources to the table. Jake returned with an extra rope and tools from the barn, while another neighbor named Lisa arrived carrying buckets of water, ready to wash away some of the mud once Rosie was freed. "Let's work together," Jack called out, grateful for the support of their community. "If we all pull at once and use the branch for leverage, we might be able to get her out." With everyone now focused on one common goal, they formed a human chain around Rosie. Jake took position at her front, holding onto her halter while speaking soothingly. "Easy now, girl," he said gently. "We're here to help you." Behind him stood Tom, Sarah, and Ben, ready to pull together. Caleb positioned himself with Jack at Rosie's hindquarters. "On three," Jack shouted again. "1, 2, 3. With all their strength combined, they pulled with everything they had. The mud clung stubbornly to Rosie's legs, but using the branch for leverage helped alleviate some of the pressure. As Rosie began to shift slightly forward with their coordinated effort, a glimmer of hope ignited in Jack's heart. "Keep pulling. You're doing great," Tom encouraged as he watched Rosie respond to their efforts. The community's teamwork was starting to pay off. The bond between them strengthened as they worked not just as ranch hands, but as friends united by a common purpose. Despite their progress, Rosie's panic surged again as she felt the pull of the rope and pressure around her body from all angles. She thrashed again, sending mud flying everywhere and causing Jack's heart to race with anxiety. "Steady! Easy does it!" Sarah called out as she continued to soothe Rosie with gentle words, alongside Caleb's comforting presence beside her. With each passing moment filled with tension and determination, Jack felt grateful for those who had joined them. The warmth of community spirit filled him with renewed energy and strength. Their shared commitment made all the difference in this dire situation. Let's try again, Jack suggested, after they regained their composure. If we ease up on the pull for just a moment and let her regain her footing, then we can pull again when she's ready. The group nodded in agreement, understanding that maintaining calmness was crucial not only for their own spirits, but especially for Rosie's welfare. They paused for a moment, allowing Rosie time to breathe and gather herself amidst all the chaos surrounding her. As they took a moment to regroup, Jack glanced at the faces around him, each one reflecting a mixture of determination and concern. This was more than just a rescue mission. It was about supporting one another through tough times, a testament to their strong community ties forged through years of shared experiences on the ranch. Finally ready once more to act together, Jack called out gently yet firmly, "Okay, on three again. 1, 2, 3. They pulled with renewed vigor, this time synchronizing their efforts even better than before. With cooperation flowing seamlessly among them like a well-orchestrated dance, they felt Rosie respond beneath them as she began inching forward slowly but surely. "Keep it up! We're almost there!" Tom shouted as he felt Rosie push against the mud with newfound resolve. And then it happened. After what felt like an eternity battling against nature's grip, Rosie broke free from her muddy prison. A collective cheer erupted from everyone present as they witnessed her emerge triumphantly from the muck. Jack rushed forward to embrace Rosie's neck tightly while laughing with sheer relief. She was finally free. The camaraderie around them swelled into a joyful celebration, a moment forever etched in their hearts, where community spirit shone its brightest amidst adversity. Together, they tended to Rosie after pulling her free, rinsing off mud and offering soothing words of comfort while tending gently towards sore legs. Together, guiding her back towards familiarity again, while reminding one another, always present through storms, faced enlivening connections, renewing hope, finding shelter light, enveloped every corner shining brightly onward, beckoning towards shared laughter, cherished friendships, blossoming deeper lives intertwined. With Rosie still trapped in the mud, Jack felt a renewed sense of urgency coursing through him. The community had gathered, and now it was time to put their collective strength into action. He looked around at the faces of his friends and neighbors, each one filled with determination to help save Rosie. "All right, everyone," Jack called out, rallying the group. "Here's the plan. We need to work together if we're going to get Rosie out safely." He took a deep breath, centering himself amidst the chaos that had unfolded around them. Jack pointed towards the sturdy branch Caleb had found earlier. "We'll use this branch as leverage to help lift her out of the mud. It'll give us more power when we pull on the rope." His eyes scanned the crowd for confirmation. He could see nodding heads and glimmers of resolve in their expressions. "First," he continued, "we'll secure a strong rope around her body to ensure we can pull without slipping off or causing her any discomfort." Tom stepped forward with a length of rope he had prepared earlier, ready to assist. As they worked together to tie the rope snugly around Rosie's torso, Jack made sure not to restrict her movement too much. This was about keeping her calm while ensuring they had a secure hold. "Just breathe easy, girl," he whispered reassuringly as he finished tying the knot. "Next," Jack said, glancing at Jake, who had been holding onto Rosie's halter at the front. "Jake, you'll stay at her head and talk to her while we do this. Your calm presence will help keep her relaxed." "Got it," Jake replied firmly, reassuringly stroking Rosie's face as she shifted nervously beneath him. "Emma and Ben," Jack instructed as he turned toward them next. "I need you two on either side near her shoulders. When we pull together, I want you both to lend your strength, too. The team positioned themselves around Rosie with great care. Everyone understood how important it was for each person involved to be aware of their role in this plan. There was an unspoken agreement among them all. This was not just about saving a horse, but also about showing what their community could accomplish when they united for a common cause. Caleb jumped in enthusiastically. I'll help push with the branch from behind. He positioned himself, readying himself for action as well. Perfect, Jack exclaimed with pride swelling within him at how willing everyone was to step up. Now let's do this. On my count. Remember, we have to pull gently but steadily. Once everyone was in position and ready for action surrounding Rosie, Jack took one last look into her wide eyes that reflected fear, yet also something resembling trust building amidst their shared efforts, gathered now forming one powerful force aimed entirely toward rescue. 1, 2, 3. With that command echoing through their hearts, ringing loud like a bell calling forth hope, they pulled together. The combined strength of their efforts connected through ropes and branches, driving forward toward successfully lifting Rosie out from her muddy prison. Jack felt his muscles strain as they pulled against the stubborn muck holding tight onto Rosie's legs. He concentrated deeply on maintaining coordination among them all. Despite physical exertion, overwhelming senses surging down upon breathless moments, urging further focus, pushing past fatigue, reminding spirits ignited alive, renewed promising tomorrows ahead. Keep going. You're doing great, Tom encouraged loudly as he felt a slight shift beneath them, a telltale sign that perhaps their efforts might soon pay off. But just then, fear surged again within Rosie. She sensed movement and began thrashing wildly against their grip, sending mud flying everywhere. Jack's heart raced. He shouted out words of encouragement, hoping she'd respond positively rather than become overwhelmed by panic once more. Steady now. Easy does it. Sarah chimed in soothingly, while holding onto Rosie's halter tightly alongside Jake. Continuing calming affirmations shared between all present, willingly embracing unconditional support, pouring forth ever relentlessly catching hold, guiding gentle whispers flowing freely through air surrounding. Taking advantage of this momentary pause amidst tumultuous energy swirling about desperately threading connections nurtured. Jack realized just how vital composure remained, edging toward success, building trust, nestled against shared breaths, sweetly exchanged amongst those standing firm beside him. They paused briefly, letting all take stock, allowing respite needed, while offering soft pats lovingly along Rosie's neck. Gently wrapping compassion, extending healing bonds, practically tangible, experienced, entwined. Growing positive energies, fostering fresh possibilities, brimming upward, spiraling new life, fulgent, inviting brighter horizons, beckoning alive, shimmering vividness, sparking color anew, returning warmth that always awaited hearts open wide. Prepared again now, readying themselves for another attempt. Each determined faces brightened excitement, bubbling forth eager anticipation, alive, urging forth brightly woven threads, connecting intertwining hearts, thriving, beating true, hopeful beats, welcoming resilience, born shining new light. Gathering momentum, rising healthier spirits, ever more emboldened, stronger finding peace, renewing courage, trusting one another, proceeding onward, boldly, forging paths, met, courageously embraced. And so, once more they gathered, resolutely standing firm, steady awaiting signal poised, ready for rhythmic embrace, collective action united together. Fueled by love, compassion, reaching continually beyond boundaries, drawn close, forwarding journeys entered beckoning life, remains ever blossoming forever. Free cherish, intertwined lives, journey flight, soaring high above golden fields, plentiful shared dreams, embraced confidently, embarking ever onward. Crossing paths alive, traversing landscapes, woven rich memories, forming threads sprawling generously, giving rise, enduring faithfully. As Jack and the team gathered around Rosie, a shared sense of determination permeated the air. They had worked tirelessly to execute their rescue plan, and now, as they pulled together with all their strength, anticipation hung heavy with each passing second. Jack's heart raced as he felt the collective effort surge through everyone. This was more than a rescue. It was a testament to their bond with Rosie and to one another. When they finally felt Rosie begin to shift beneath them, the emotions flooded Jack like a tidal wave. He could hardly believe that their hard work might actually pay off. Hope sparked in his chest like a flickering candle in the darkness. "Keep going," he shouted as invigorated energy coursed through him, encouraging everyone surrounding Rosie to push just a little harder. "Pull. We're almost there." Tom echoed from his position at the back end, keeping everyone focused on the goal while gently guiding Rosie toward freedom. With every strained tug, Jack could see it in Rosie's eyes. A flicker of recognition that she wasn't alone anymore. The fear that had plagued her for what felt like an eternity slowly began to lift as she sensed the warmth and support of her team surrounding her. It was an emotional turning point. She was sensing their determination and love pressed firmly into every caress and whisper carried forth among those present. Finally, with one last concerted pull, Jack felt the mud release its grasp on Rosie. The exhilaration of seeing her step forward free from the muck filled his heart to overflowing. She made it. Almost instinctively, he threw his arms around her neck, tears of relief streaming down his face as laughter bubbled up inside him. "Yes, yes, you did it, girl," Jack exclaimed, joy rushing through him like electricity. The reality of the moment swept over him. Everything he had fought for, the countless hours spent caring for Rosie and tending to all the animals on Willow Creek, had culminated in this jubilant victory. Around them, cheers erupted from their friends and neighbors who had joined together for this momentous occasion. The relief among everyone else was palpable. Smiles broke out on faces previously etched with worry and tension. Caleb jumped up and down with excitement, clapping his hands while Sarah embraced Emma, both women laughing in disbelief at what they had just achieved together. "It's incredible. We really did it," Emma shouted joyfully as she wiped tears away from her eyes. Jack stepped back slightly to take in Rosie's form more fully, her coat still wet but already beginning to dry out in the fading light of day. He took a calming breath while running his hands across her neck, gently checking for any injuries that may have occurred during her struggle. Seeing no visible wounds eased Jack's heart even further. Gratitude welled within him, knowing she was safe now. The emotions swirling around him were overwhelming. It was relief mingled with gratitude, for not only Rosie's safety, but also for the deep connections forged among them throughout this challenging experience. This event had brought everyone together unlike anything else before. Witnessing their community rally together made Jack swell with pride for all those gathered under shared purpose. Seeking hope found amid uncertainty turned victorious. "We couldn't have done this without each other," Jack exclaimed warmly, looking at all those surrounding him smiling. He gestured toward each person present as gratitude filled every corner. Encouragement offered significant strength passed amongst warm embraces, gliding forth, drawing breaths held alongside amidst joyous cries, met warmly voiced affirmations, uplifted radiantly, reaching close, nearness, embracing light, welcoming newfound vibrant expressions, blooming. Bright progenitors making mark gained ever-growing, expanding life. As they tended to Rosie, each person took turns running cool water over her muddy legs, washing away remnants of the struggle-faced moments before days beyond spread vast, expressed waiting, freeing layers. Hoped striving upon blossomed possibilities, glowing fresh enfolding trust placed upon enduring friendships, cherished evermore following journey, trodden freely entered, bliss, invited joy, revived born anew. Brimming laying wondrous, soundlessly spoken unbroken hearts, alive, sparkles dancing upon open breaths, glowing, coursing upward, returning rainbows, witnessed framing cherished lives, rekindled time shared, enveloping each voice, crisp, where reminding themes echo across valleys, calling forth reassembly, reflecting futures awaiting. The sun dipped further into the horizon, painting vibrant colors across sky, low clouds turning rose-golden, illuminating spirits raised, shared nurture. Offering diligent promises, standing ever strong. Pledging breadth, resounding forth, waltzing, celebrating vibrant life, discovered nestled freedom. Reclaiming returns, glory sought, reached below. Welcoming turning friendship, renewed set free, endlessly embraced, leading onward. Whose journeys cherished awaited on expanded horizons, pillows fondly strewn upon fresh spun threads, making paths untrodden. Traversed brave ventures, awakened compassion, freely determined, watchful, unbroken. Remembered delightful miracles, shared, cultivated woven youth. Flourished, finding sacred home, remembered. In the days following Rosie's dramatic rescue, the atmosphere at E.C. Willow Creek Ranch transformed into one of celebration and relief. Jack had never felt more connected to his beloved mare. Every moment spent tending to her recovery was a reminder of the bond they shared. After being freed from the mud, Rosie was understandably shaken, but remarkably resilient. Jack kept a close eye on her as she took her first tentative steps away from the site of her entrapment. He could see her muscles quivering slightly, a mixture of fatigue and residual fear still present in her bright eyes. But soon enough, she began to regain her confidence. Trotting slowly around the pasture, taking in the familiar sights and sounds that had always comforted her, Jack made it a point to spend extra time with Rosie during her recovery. Each day, he would brush her coat gently, soothing her with soft words while checking for any signs of injury. The initial concern he felt for her well-being gradually turned into an overwhelming sense of gratitude. In those quiet moments, he reflected on how deeply he cherished her presence in his life. "Good girl," he would say softly as he ran his fingers along her neck, feeling the warmth beneath her fur. "You're a fighter, aren't you?" It was during these tender exchanges that their bond only solidified further. Rosie would lean into his touch, eyes half closed in contentment, as if she understood just how much he cared. The entire community remained involved in Rosie's recovery. Neighbors who had helped during the rescue continued to check in regularly, asking about her progress and offering their support. Jack felt overwhelmed by their kindness. It was heartening to know that so many people cared about Rosie and shared in his love for her. As weeks passed, Rosie grew stronger each day, shaking off the memories of that harrowing incident. She began to join Jack and Tom on their daily rounds around the ranch, eager to explore the fields and graze on the lush grasses once again. It was a joyous sight. Seeing her trot confidently beside Jack brought tears of happiness to his eyes. One afternoon, as Jack walked alongside Rosie, he reflected on everything that had transpired. The mud that once held her captive now seemed like a distant memory, overshadowed by the strength of their relationship and the deeper connections forged within their community. The support they received during that challenging time proved invaluable, reminding him that they were never alone in their struggles. "Let's go for a ride," Jack suggested one sunny morning, feeling a rush of excitement at the thought of riding together again. He saddled Rosie gently, taking care to ensure she was comfortable after everything she had endured. Leading her out onto a trail marked with fresh blooms and vibrant greenery ignited a sense of freedom in both horse and rider. As they rode through the familiar paths of Willow Creek, Jack felt immense joy swell within him. The wind whipped through his hair as Rosie galloped smoothly along the trail. He could feel her spirit shining bright beneath him. It was as if they were reclaiming their bond. Every stride they took together was a reaffirmation of trust solidified through trials faced together. Later in the day, Jack returned with Rosie and placed a loving hand on her side while reflecting on their journey together. He knew that this experience had changed them both. Rosie had shown resilience in the face of adversity, and he had learned just how precious their connection truly was. "I promise to always take care of you," he whispered softly while looking into her big brown eyes filled with understanding. "You're not just my mare. You're my partner." As autumn approached and leaves began to turn golden hues around Willow Creek, Jack couldn't help but feel grateful for every moment spent with Rosie. The laughter shared among friends during the rescue efforts and the lessons learned about courage and community spirit. In the end, it wasn't just about saving a horse lost in mud, but about discovering joy within those moments woven tightly among ranch life, where love thrived amidst all challenges faced. Together, they ventured forward, Jack and Rosie, two souls intertwined forevermore, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead with open hearts. Steadfast and strong like the roots embedded deep below them, anchoring hopes toward brighter tomorrows yet unfolding. The experience of rescuing Rosie from the mud taught Jack and the entire community valuable life lessons that would resonate for years to come. As Jack reflected on the events, he realized that the ordeal was more than just a challenge to overcome. It was a profound reminder of what it meant to live in a community filled with compassion and teamwork. One of the most significant lessons learned was the importance of teamwork. Jack had always known that working together made tasks easier, but this situation brought new depth to that understanding. It wasn't just about lending a hand or sharing burdens. It was about coming together with a shared purpose. Each person who joined the effort brought their unique skills and strengths, creating a powerful force that made all the difference in the rescue. From Tom's calmness in devising the rescue plan to Sarah's gentle approach with Rosie, each individual played a vital role in the operation. Jack recognized that they had accomplished something extraordinary together, achieving a goal that would have been impossible alone. The experience reinforced his belief that when people unite for a common cause, they can achieve remarkable things. Another important lesson was the deep-seated value of compassion, not just for animals, but also for one another. Throughout the ordeal, Jack witnessed acts of kindness that filled his heart with gratitude. Neighbors who had rushed to help didn't hesitate to offer their support without expecting anything in return. They understood the urgency of the situation and acted out of a desire to contribute positively and help someone in need. Jack felt inspired by how everyone collectively cared for Rosie, showing compassion that bridged beyond mere concern for a horse in distress. He learned that compassion fosters strong relationships and builds a sense of belonging within a community. The bonds that were forged during this harrowing event would linger long after Rosie had fully recovered, tying everyone together in ways they had not experienced before. As Rosie healed and regained her strength, Jack also recognized the importance of caring for animals as sentient beings deserving respect and love. He had always valued his role as a rancher, but realized this experience deepened his commitment to ensuring that every animal on his ranch was treated with dignity and kindness. Their lives were intertwined with humans, and it was their duty as caregivers to nurture those bonds. In taking care of Rosie following her rescue, Jack felt an even greater responsibility toward her well-being. He made sure she received ample attention, gentle grooming, and patience as she adjusted back to her life on the ranch. Every brushstroke across her coat reinforced his love and respect for her spirit, while reminding him of their journey through adversity together. Jack's relationship with Rosie transformed during this time. She had not only survived, but also thrived through courage and determination. The moments spent caring for her brought them closer than ever. He often found himself reflecting on how their bond had changed, not just as owner and horse, but as partners sharing mutual trust founded on shared experiences. The community support also left an indelible mark on Jack's heart. He felt immense pride in having neighbors willing to come together when it mattered most. This unity had breathed new life into Willow Creek, empowering everyone involved to cherish those connections and expand upon them. As autumn painted the landscape with golden hues, Jack watched Rosie gallop through the pastures, her spirit unmarred by her previous ordeal. In those moments of joy, he was reminded that challenges can bring forth growth, both personally and collectively. The lessons learned from rescuing Rosie served as guiding principles moving forward in life, emphasizing teamwork, compassion, and respect for all living beings. Jack dedicated himself to promoting these values not only on his ranch, but within his wider community as well. He organized workshops aimed at educating others about animal care and encouraged everyone to lend help wherever possible, whether to animals or fellow humans facing difficulties. In the end, Jack understood that while saving Rosie was a momentary triumph, it sparked ongoing reflections about what it truly means to nurture our relationships with both animals and each other. The bonds cultivated during this time would echo through future seasons at Willow Creek Ranch, an enduring reminder that love, compassion, and community spirit matter most amid challenges faced together on paths walked side by side. As the sun began to set over Willow Creek, casting warm hues of gold and orange across the landscape, Jack took a moment to reflect on the whirlwind of emotions and experiences of the past few days. The rescue of Rosie had not only been a physical challenge, but also an emotional journey that reshaped his understanding of life, community, and responsibility. Sitting in the barn with Rosie gently nuzzling against him, Jack felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He thought about how close he had come to losing her and how each heartbeat echoed the bond they shared. Their relationship had always been special, but now it felt deeper, enriched by the trials they had faced together. Jack realized that caring for Rosie wasn't just about providing food or shelter. It was about being there for her in moments of crisis and vulnerability. The ordeal served as a poignant reminder that responsibility goes beyond duty. It encompasses love and empathy. Jack knew that every animal on his ranch deserved that same level of care. He found himself reflecting on the many times he might have taken their relationships for granted, focusing instead on work and routines without fully appreciating the unique spirits entrusted to his care. Watching Rosie regain her strength brought tears to his eyes. He witnessed how resilience could shine through with love and support, not just from him, but from the entire community, eager to help. This powerful lesson stirred something deep within him. He understood that they were all interconnected, individuals united in purpose with a shared commitment to nurture life around them. Moreover, Jack was moved by the compassion displayed by his neighbors during Rosie's rescue. Their willingness to drop everything and join him in saving his mare demonstrated something vital. When faced with adversity, people band together. The outpouring of support reinforced his belief in community. It was a network formed not just by proximity, but by shared values about caring for both animals and each other. It became clear to him that this kind of unity not only enriched their lives, but fortified them against challenges they might face in the future. As he considered these ideas more deeply, Jack felt motivated to promote these values further within Willow Creek. He began formulating plans to host workshops focused on animal care, while inviting neighbors to collaborate within community projects that fostered teamwork and connection among residents. He envisioned gatherings where stories could be shared and lessons learned from one another, all while strengthening the bonds forged through experiences like Rosie's rescue. The days turned longer as spring blossomed into summer. Yet Jack remained committed to nurturing this newly sparked sense of community among those around him. Families came together at various events organized on the ranch, sharing knowledge about animal husbandry, attending fun farm activities with kids riding horses alongside their parents. Each gathering fostering friendships that would last through generations. On one golden evening, while leading Rosie back into her pasture after grooming her carefully, he paused for a moment, thinking how much light she brought not only into his life, but also into everyone else's through her gentle presence. Her spirit exemplifying resilience, while simultaneously binding them closer together, bridging each heart, deepening interwoven legacies, enduring kindness unveiled amid simplicity, found following storms, weathered. "I promise I'll always take care of you," he whispered softly under shimmering stars, beginning their nightly watch overhead. The warmth swelled fiercely, filling air-filled hopes reflecting dreams, elegantly dancing upon open fields adorned richly threads alive, watching breaths quietly exhaled, guiding sacred promises made treasured bonds, spinning countless tales, embracing gently among harvest nights. Jack sat down beside Rosie in the fading light as all those experiences coalesced into clarity. The lessons learned forever etched inside him, defining what truly mattered in life. Love freely given without restraint, shaped openly revealing paths, fortified friendships rooted deeply, invigorating joy, lived fully advocated intensely. Every bump along life's path deserved remembrance, worthy adding immensely rich fabrics, layered courage infused, nestled boldly, dreaming forward wherever journeys led. Next, weaving heartstrings, binding closer together, urging souls ever toward abundant futures, blooming bright. "Thank you for being my partner," he said aloud, while resting a gentle hand upon Rosie's neck. His heart content and hopeful, knowing deeper exploration lay ahead, where kindness persisted, forging lives intertwined tenderly, beckoned further, endearing brightening paths ventured.